Hello and welcome. This video is brought to you by the StreamingAdvisor.com. Tailor your entertainment with streaming. And if you've been following us for a while, you will know this. I hate unboxing videos. I just hate spending all that time opening things and all the crackling of the materials and stuff like that. I just don't think that adds anything to your understanding of a device. But if you want to see what the boxing of the device looks like, it has that, and inside is this, little compartments to keep everything. What you actually see with this purple thing is the headphones for the old Roku. I'll get to that later. So, let's show you what you get with the Roku Ultra. This is the Roku Ultra. This is Roku's highest end Roku model of their new generation. It replaces the Roku 4, and it has a lot of things to offer. For one, here is the device itself. It says Roku on the top, so you know who made it. I like this here. This is the button that you can use to find your remote if you lose it. It's got a lot of good ports on the back, including an Ethernet port, which is typical of their highest end products. It has an HDMI, of course. It has an SD slot. Not sure if you can see that. Has an optical audio, which is great for audio files, and of course a spot to, plug in the power. There's a shocker, right? Also, there's a USB port on the side that's used for adding external media. It has a power port, of course, because otherwise how would you turn it on? It comes with a remote with some preset buttons like other Rokus do. I think this is probably a safe selection of presets, unlike when they had, radio, and it went out of business. I don't even know how many months later after it ended up on one of the Roku controllers. This controller can be used for games, which is why it's designed in the way that it is. Roku hasn't really ever put a great emphasis on games, especially since old Angry Birds left the coop there. It comes with batteries for the Roku remote, which is really great. Not all products come with batteries like that. There's a simple little pamphlet that just shows you the basic steps of setting it up. But don't worry, anything special that you need to learn, we are sure to do a video on it. And as I was saying, you're going to deal with a new set of headphones here. Those are used in conjunction with the remote, which has, of course, the famous Roku headphone jack built in. That's for the private listening that has come to define kind of the best of Roku. But I wanted to point something out about these new headphones. You might notice, if you've seen these before, that this is quite a bit more substantial set of headphones than you got from older models, which were more like this. These are like, they're earbuds, and they were very comfortable, and they were effective. But obviously Roku has put something that's just a little less, I wouldn't know what to say, malleable, maybe more, this is definitely bendier, and replaced it with something a little bit more substantial. So that's interesting. In fact, sound is a big part of what you get out of the new Roku Ultra. It even includes something called Smart Sound, which is designed to allow you to avoid the problems of not being able to hear something because you've got it low or something coming out too high. It's another sort of concession to those who are going to be watching TV without wanting to disturb somebody, say in the next room, for instance. Nothing's worse than when you turn down the TV because there's an explosion or loud music and then it's followed up by a very quiet scene later on. We've all been there, haven't we? So, also on the Roku Ultra, part of what makes it Ultra is that it has 4K and HDR, that's high dynamic range. What that means is that your whites and your blacks are going to be most pure as far as the way that they are transmitted. It's going to give you the best possible HD signal and 4K signal. So that's going to be great for people who have the best TVs. You're going to really see a difference, or you should at least. Sometimes I wonder if people just say they can see a difference, but that's just me. Either way, this is a top-notch product. can find it. You can be able to find it pretty much everywhere on Roku's website, on Amazon, and most big box stores. So we're going to get this all set up and take a look at how it performs overall. But this is the Roku Ultra. I'm Ryan Downey. See you on the other side. Alright, so this is the Roku Ultra all set up. You'll see that it has the same look as other previous Roku models. The main differences with this device and a lot of the others is things like currently this has a voice remote, which not all of the Rokus do. It also has better video and audio capabilities than other models. And I'll give you an example of how that works. Let's take a look at the settings, and we'll go into display type, and you'll see right now it's set for 1080, which is what my TV has. But you have the 4 choices here, including 4K UHD HDR. So, that's going to be the top picture you can get at this point. If this is an old video, then maybe, they're up to, a million K. I don't know. But at this point, 4K UHD is pretty much as good as it gets. Something else, once you actually have a TV that can do 4K UHD, it's helpful to be able to actually find content on that. There's not a lot of live content done that way, but if you go into their streaming channels, you have a whole section of the 4K UHD content available. And this lists all of the channels that the Roku Ultra offers that have that kind of content, along with the 4K Spotlight channel. The 4K Spotlight channel is something that you're only going to find useful if you have 4K TVs. But what you have here is a whole selection of movies and TV shows that are going to be at the highest quality video playback that you can get. Now you'll see there aren't a whole bunch. See, this is 17 here, and this is pretty much everything you're going to find as far as TV and movies HDR. But it's all here, and as it grows, the numbers will change. As an example, there's 167 4K movies. When the 4K first started on Roku and other devices, it was kind of scant. And there's TV, 37 little videos, and again, it has the listing of all the channels that offer 4K content. So that's cool. That's very helpful, because nothing's more frustrating than getting something that has this great capability and not really being able to exercise it. You're having to really hunt and peck. Something else this does is it has a nice setting for one-touch play. I'm going to go into System. We're going to go to Settings, System, and Control Other Devices. There we are. So One Touch Play is going to let you turn on your Roku from your HDMI, of course, by just using the controller. And it's going to switch to that input so that you don't have to go in and say, HDMI 1, HDMI 2. That's a very popular feature. So that's going to be something that's very helpful. Otherwise, the menu is the same as you would find with other Rokus, including the updates, which are fast, over the air. But let's show you some other capabilities. One of the things that makes this different, like I said, than a lot of the Roku models is that it has a voice search. So let me kind of give you an idea of what that's like. it doesn't actually search for everything in the world. It's not like something you see on Amazon's Fire TV or the Apple TV. It's not going to talk back to you. It's basically used just for finding channels and finding specific things like people, certain actors, Tobey Maguire, Steven Spielberg, things like that. So I'll show you, like, if you look for Batman. See, it says The Man. Let's try it again. Batman. Oh, wow. Batman. There we go. Third time's a charm. Usually works the first time. You see, this is going to pull up everything with Batman listed in it. And not only that, it gives you an idea of where you can find it. For instance, if you really want to see Batman Forever, it's going to show you all the places you can rent it. And that's a really, really helpful feature of Roku in general. And what you do with voice search is you save yourself some time. Another example, start from the beginning, would say like Steven Spielberg. There it is. Boom. Steven Spielberg. You search, and there are all of the movies and TV shows that fall into his deal. Right down to his beloved Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skulls. But again, if you're feeling the urge to watch some Steven Spielberg work, it's really excellent to be able to find the content that quickly, and even better, find out all the places you can watch it. If you want to look at this, look at the difference in the prices you've got here. This is artificial intelligence. $2.99, $3.99, $4.99, $9.99 to buy it, $20 to buy it. And we're talking about a $10 difference. That actually gets pretty substantial. That's enough for takeout. So that is a helpful feature. That's a pretty universal feature with Roku. The difference is that with the Roku Ultra, you can ask for things by saying it versus going into search and say, looking for Steven Spielberg. Let's see, is he coming up yet? Yeah, there he is. And even worse, if you misspell it. Let's say you figure, you don't know how to spell his name, and you think it's spelled with a PH. Still not there, see? So you could find yourself fumbling around a lot, or just like I said, say, Steven Spielberg. Bang, once again. So the voice search is helpful, but like I said, on the other hand, you can't say, when is the Super Bowl? Huh? Yeah. Hello, Roku. How are you today? See, it's not going to do anything. Oh, it says, do I mean this? But, you choose it, and, yeah, how to train your dragon. So this isn't like other devices. It's not going to say, hello, Ryan, or hello. It just doesn't do that. The search is basically a time saver. It's going to be great for anybody who doesn't want to have to deal with keyboards and things like that. It really is helpful that way. But, that's the extent of it. Now, something really cool about the Roku Ultra, this was something that you could do with the Roku 4 previously. It has a remote finder. And the fun thing is, if you think about anything that you lose, like you have Apple products that you can find. You can find your iPod, your iPad by calling for it. But usually it's just like a beep, 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 beep. I think the sounds it makes. I don't have to demonstrate them all. But in this case, check this out. You can actually get a lot of different sorts of ways to find your remote. I'm going to go to the remote section, to find remote, and you get this whole group of different sounds, and that's actually pretty cool. For instance, the default is the sonar. Let's see. So, that's what you're going to hear with the original. You're going to whistle. Referee. Let's check this out. And see. Yeah, I mean, we just did that, right? So, I think that's a lot of fun, to tell you the truth, because you're not going to have much trouble finding your remote with something like that just blaring out of the speaker. And that's a really cool feature. I mean, that is a really cool feature, because how many times have you misplaced the remote, or somebody else misplaces the remote? You say, where'd it go? I don't know. So that solves a ton of problems as it is. Now, this new Roku also comes with the latest operating system. And that's going to make a big difference in a couple of ways. But most notably, it's going to give you access to the latest apps, anything that has been updated. And one of the most major updates that we've seen on Roku is this right here. This is Amazon's app. It used to be a much more basic app, and now it has an app that actually looks like the Fire TV. It doesn't have all the same things that a Fire TV does on its own, but it's a very pretty app, and we actually have a whole video just on the Amazon app on Roku now. But what I've found with this device is that it performs very quickly. The video looks great. Maybe I can show you a quick example. Let's see. I'd like to show something that doesn't have like commercials, just so you can get a quick idea of what it looks like. Let's see if the trailers do, since the trailers are, after all, commercials.
Presented by American Housewife. All new Tuesday, 8:30,
okay, come on now, come on.
ABC.
See, I mean, it looks very clear. Starts very quickly, smooth. We're just going to get out of that. But you see, by using this, it helps you just really get very high quality stuff, very high quality video. And you're going to have a lot of choices in your audio, as we showed you. You can even use optical audio. So the Roku Ultra is a really solid device. It's one of the fastest I've ever worked with. Even with 270 something channels here, things start quickly. It's got a good selection of channels, as all Rokus do. And in general, it's just a great device. I'm really enjoying it so far. And I think my favorite thing is that even the things that are like heavy on these media side, things that sort of require a whole lot of heft, you can launch them quickly. And I haven't noticed any kind of problems with pixelation, things like that. So that's the Roku Ultra. I hope you found this video helpful. You can find it on Amazon and numerous stores. We'll give you a link to pick it up on Amazon if you like. Please subscribe if you found this was something that helped you out, helped you understand things. And as always, I'm Ryan Downey, the streaming advisor. Stream on, my friends.